let's learn the jig Sport, written by Peadar Ó Riada from Coolay in County Cork. It's a gorgeous little jig. It's in the key of D, but the second and third parts are actually leading with the chords of A, which creates lovely anticipation for the return to the first part. Just a quick reiteration of the guidelines for picking jigs. 6/8, so therefore we have 2 sets of 3 notes per bar. And what I recommend, certainly for starting out, is that we pick down, up, down, down, up, down. It's not a hard and fast rule in jigs, so down, up, up will work absolutely fine too. The same rules do apply for picking triplets. I highly recommend starting on a down, so your triplets will be down, up, down, and the note after will be a down as well. If you want a more lyrical feel to a jig, down, up, will achieve that. But you can also do down, up, down. Essentially, if you're hitting a downstroke at the start of each bar, you won't go too far wrong. So here is the basic tune. This is Sport, written by the great Peadar Ó Riada. Let's pick the pace up a little bit, get some more of that jig rhythm into it. There's nothing too tricky in the overall tune. Perhaps the first part, there's a little bit of jumping around with the fingers just because of where the notes go. So those little sequences where you're pressing down and lifting off, particularly on the G sections, the G, B, E, they'll help you create a nice stretch between your index and your ring fingers. Might be an opportunity just for a very short talk about the left hand. And I think one of the things to maybe avoid doing is to clamp very hard with your thumb, because that can restrict the movement of your other fingers. So be free and easy with how you're holding the neck. I mean, ideally you should have a strap, or the banjo is essentially self-supporting on your lap so that you're not holding it with your hand. And then just be flexible in terms of being able to move your left hand around the fretboard. And don't be afraid to allow your thumb to move as well. So the more movement and the more freedom that you have, the easier it is to get around all of the notes. If you're clamped and quite tense between the thumb and the index holding the neck, that can cause constrictions. So just flexibility, looseness, and the ability to move around, and you won't have any problems. Let's add in some ornamentation. I'm going to do one round with triplets and trebles and the 3-note runs and all of that kind of nice stuff. And then we'll get on and talk about some of the chords that we can play along with this tune. Okay, so nothing tricky there, just single note triplets and the 3-note triplet runs on the left hand. There are some opportunities in this tune for slides and stuff, but we're going to cover that, I think, when we do the tune using harmony notes and chords. And speaking of which, first part is in the key of D. Second and third parts switch up, leading with the A chords. They are still in the key of D, but the emphasis is on the A. Again, totally up to you, and it's not essential in this. I tune my G string up to A, and that just gives me more open chord flavor and feeling, but it's not essential for a tune like this, because it's, if you're not comfortable doing that, that's absolutely fine. It won't limit what you can do in terms of using chords and harmony. So here we go. So there's one chord right at the end of the first part that I love. Probably has a name. The G, C sharp and an E. And if you catch the open A on the bottom as well, I really like that. So here's the first part using that nice chord at the end. Sweet. So in the third part, having the open A on the bottom lets you do this kind of almost cross-picked, dropped low A beat that can happen. And that's nice from a rhythmical point of view to just kind of punch out that offbeat. And when you go back into the first half, you're resolving it by coming back onto the downbeat. So here's that again. This is the third part, emphasizing the offbeat by using that low A note. And then when we come back to the first part, straight in with the big D chord on the downbeat, and that's the resolution. So that's one of those nice tricks in Irish music, by creating a little bit of tension, heavy on the offbeat, and then resolving that through a big, glorious chord on the downbeat. All right, here's once through the tune, maybe twice, if I feel inspired. And we're just going to use all of the chords, all of the ornamentation, and maybe even a little bit of variation. There you go, that's the Jigs Sport by Peadar Ó Riada, and all of the notation for this is available on Patreon/Enda Scahill Banjo. Leave a comment if you'd like to hear other tunes, and make sure you hit the subscribe button because it all helps.